And that's when I saw Mommy kissing Santa Claus. What's going on, everybody? This is the Cover Band Confidential Podcast, the podcast for cover band musicians and band leaders to learn how to rock more while also sucking less. In Atlanta, Georgia, I'm Adam Johnson.
In Greensboro, North Carolina, I'm Dan Ray.
Hope you had a wonderful Christmas situation, sir.
I did. It was lovely. Just before I get into it, I will say I was like today minus a year or two old when I realized it was Daddy Mommy was kissing.
Yeah.
I didn't put it together. I thought Mommy was... I don't know what I thought, but then I figured it out.
It is a bit confusing. You know, we were talking about the holiday concert that Amber was prepping for. Well, it happened this past weekend.
Okay.
And they did that song, but they did I Saw Daddy Kissing Santa Claus. So all the pronouns were flipped around.
Nice.
And it was pretty fun.
Yep.
And they did it double time in certain parts, and I went out there and just skanked my face off. It was
Excellent.
a lot of fun.
Excellent.
It was a free show, and turnout was awesome. The only bummer was that my parents were going to come down to Athens to see it, and they both got COVID. So all of the family plans for the holiday, because that's typically we go over to my parents' house, we do the big extended family event. None of that happened. So I ended up FaceTiming the entire show to my dad so he could hang out and watch it at the house. And man, the guys in basketball team did a fantastic job. It was so much fun. It was about a 90-minute set, and they covered all the things, and it was a blast.
Very cool.
And Amber was phenomenal.
Of course she was.
I will say this: the primary mic that they used was my Shure Super 55.
Okay.
And it sounded fantastic. Like even other people who ended up singing through it were like, "This mic rips."
It does.
And so Amber's kind of like, "I want one."
Yeah.
But the problem is that black Super 55 was a limited edition.
Yeah.
And I went to go see what it would cost to get another one, and they're currently on Reverb for like $450, $500.
Yeah. Well, if you can,
which is a bit of a shame.
If you can get over the blackness, my Chrome one does great. So
sure, it's the same one.
Yeah.
But it doesn't match.
I know. Yeah, there is that.
I just don't know if the black tax is, worth the effort. That's a big.
That sounds wrong. I don't know.
Big upcharge. Yeah.
Well, my Christmas thing this year is I finally can stop hiding the Disney plans from the child. That was the big thing under the tree. We're going the middle of January. So when she found out it was like 3 weeks away, she, blew her mind. And then the other plan had been, and I think I'd shared this with you, not on the pod. I think I'd shared it with you separately, that her best buddy, who she's known since daycare, since they were 2. And so that's 8 years, they're coming with us. And so the plan had been that we would meet them at the airport and all be in the same "we're going to Disney" shirts and be like, whole thing. Everyone who described this to was like, "Oh my God, I can't believe." Yeah. The present got opened. She understood we were going. I leapt into the other room to get her iPad to tell her friends. And we were like, whoa. Like the whole plan was, got to keep that under wraps. Listen, not everybody's going to be cool with like you leaving school. Not everyone gets to do that. So we don't want anyone to feel any particular way. All total strategy to try to keep this secret, right? This surprise. Right. And then we were like, it's not going to happen. These kids talk. There's no chance. There's no chance. And the girl on the other side of it, the bestie is a sieve. I mean, she's like there's like no lockbox on this kid.
Right.
So we planned to like tell them, and we went over there to their house, play date, whatever. And within 90 seconds of hitting the front door, it had spilled. My kid came running in like, "They're going to Disney and we're going to sit on the chain." Like they had figured it all out. And so all of the surprises are out the door, but it's gonna be a great time. And so you're gonna have to find a stand-in host for that week.
What's the week of that? Is that the week that I'm in NAMM?
17th to the 23rd.
Okay, so
well, all right, we'll pre-record.
One good turn deserves another.
We'll do a pre-record or something.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, all right.
I don't know if I can do a live one from NAMM. I think that might be a bit of a stretch.
People do it.
They do.
We can set you up with a gimbal and a live stream, and you can do the whole thing.
There's definitely going to be a whole mess of content coming
for sure
back this way once that's all said and done.
That's exciting that NAMM is live again. That's really good.
I'm looking forward to it. I mean, I've tried to let everybody that I know in this world about it, and hope to figure out a way to meet up with as many people as possible.
Yeah.
I love talking about gear.
Sure.
And the thing that's been fun about the Patreon community is that everybody kind of went through their hauls this year. And there was a couple of folks that were a little miffed that they didn't send the holiday gift guide.
See, we do these things for you. You need to,
specifically Adam Martin, who is the keyboard player for Class of '84 in Philadelphia. He got 2 square amp mugs,
guitar amp,
the exact same one,
like Fender guitar amp mugs.
Yeah, but he does not play guitar.
Right.
But he got 2 of them
from his children.
And then he got a couple of other things that he's like, did not ask for these. I regret what I said.
Yeah.
But there's a couple other folks got some really good stuff. Some folks got a splitter snake. We got battery organizers, like all the good stuff, and some of the stuff that made it on the list.
Yep.
So that gift guide paid off in dividends. And speaking of gear, somebody just kind of passed my desk, and I really just was obsessed with it. I wanted to kind of just throw it out there. LG, the TV tech company, released this product called the StanByMe, not Stand by Me, but Stan.
Stan, like the guy.
Like the names. Yeah.
Yeah.
StanByMe Go. And it is a 27-inch briefcase television screen.
Yeah, touch
and it's
touch
screen also.
Yeah.
So it's basically a 27-inch television inside of a briefcase that's battery powered, totally wireless if you want it to be. It's basically a touchscreen smart television, and it's outrageously expensive. It's $1,200.
Yeah.
But a part of me is like, man, that's a pretty rad solution for all of our live band karaoke folks out there.
For sure.
And I am so intrigued by this premise that I may just give it a shot for you guys.
Yeah, for you guys.
Spend an exorbitant amount of money to see if this does the live band karaoke setup the way that I think it should. And also, I think it would be great for promo stuff. Like, it could be used for a lot of things. And while it is, again, insanely expensive, I think it's pretty rad.
Yeah, I mean, you can get a perfectly serviceable, 18 to 20 inch monitor for a couple $100 max. But
just get them on Craigslist for like 20.
For sure. But then the thing for me is like, I mean, I've got cases for all of my stuff. My gear goes in the back of my car and rattles around, right? I'm not going to transport a monitor loose. That's not going to happen.
Yeah.
So do I need to get a monitor-sized Pelican case? Something like that, probably. So there's the case is going to be many multiples of the cost of the monitor at this point. So this thing travels in its own storage unit, kind of is elegantly displayed from that storage unit. It's setting the price aside. It's a pretty nice solution.
It's pretty rad. I don't know how else to explain it.
Yeah.
It's rad.
We'll put the link in the show notes. You'll see what we're talking about.
Yeah. And, in my world, our AV rig for live band karaoke is a laptop with a converter and standalone monitor.
Yep.
And it is kind of dicey moving that thing around. And it was a freebie that, that deal where like the office is like cleaning stuff out.
Mm-hmm.
And it's either it goes into your trunk or it goes in the dumpster. I was like, I guess I'll take one of these.
Right.
But it's an older monitor and it's got a weird refresh rate. And neither one of my laptops like it. I have to use a Blackmagic converter to run it.
Wow.
Because it doesn't recognize or send a signal from either of my Macs, which is, it's a thing with the newer M1s. They're real picky about that stuff. So it seems like a cool solution.
Yeah. One more thing before we move on into reviews. There was a ton of traffic on my TikTok a couple of weeks ago that caught my attention because it had to do with new reporting requirements for LLCs and other kinds of incorporated entities.
I saw this too.
Yeah. And so what it is, the beneficial ownership information reporting, the BOI. Yeah. Boy. Yeah. Boy. Anyway, apparently it's really a thing. This came across TikTok a lot, and I was skeptical because I'm always skeptical of things that come across TikTok. But I Googled it, and it's for real. And the problem with it is the form that you are supposed to report on is not currently live. The government entity that manages it doesn't have anything up to actually have you do it on, despite it being required effective January 1st. Now, they're giving some grace period. So we just wanted to say, like, be aware this is a thing. Maybe you might want to drop it at Google. And once we know a little more, probably in a week or so, we'll say a lot more on the pod about what you got to do. But
so the TLDR is that if you've got any sort of business entity that you have for your band, whether it's a C Corp, S Corp, LLC, there's this form that you need to fill out and send to the government. And the intent is to kind of help shell corporations and people from being shady with their revenue stuff. Yeah. But if you don't fill this form out, there's apparently like a $500 daily fine.
Yeah, it means business.
So they're not messing around.
Yeah. And the point of it is to map from business entities to humans. Right.
Right.
Actually find the people behind companies. So that's,
Yeah.
I'm for that. I think that's transparency is good. But boy, if you were unaware and just chugging along with your LLC, you would be sad. So we're going to help you not do that. But we can't because the thing isn't up. So we can't say much about it right now, how to do that. So.
Yeah, we'll definitely be doing a tax episode first of the year.
Yeah.
So, be on the lookout for that. So this is a Boy Bolo.
There you go. Yeah, boy.
Boy Bolo. Be on the lookout. Okay, let's move over to reviews. This one comes from E-Rock. 5-star review on Apple Podcast US. It says, people with bands listen to this podcast. Real people in real bands with real issues. That's,
accurate.
Pretty on the nose.
Yep.
Lots of tips on how to move through the issues that are fairly common in all entertainment situations. These fellows do a great job. Keep up the good work, guys. Big thanks to E-Rock for the kind words.
Thank you.
If you'd like to hear your name or your band or any other information, shout it out on the show. Leave us a review. We'd love to do that. And I've been a bit more diligent about doing the Q&A deal that they have on Spotify now. So if you listen on Spotify, there's usually like a kind of topic specific question. So if you're not familiar with that, go check it out. Leave your thoughts on those things. And nice. That's it.
Very good.
Okay. So Dan.
Adam.
It is currently the week between Christmas and New Year's.
The liminal sort of lost week. I can't tell what day it is. I didn't take this time off work, but nothing's happening at work. So I might as well have, except I'm not costing myself PTO. It's a very weird week.
Yeah. So in my world, I should have taken last week off because my company being a software that primarily works in the worship space.
Yeah.
The week before Christmas is a very tense time.
Sure.
And I dealt with a lot of folks with a severe case of the Christmas spirit is what we call it.
See. Oh.
So, yeah, I literally told every person on my team, I was like, remind me to take this week off next year.
Right.
Because I don't want to have to deal with this again.
Yeah.
But in that, I wanted to, it's a good time to reflect, go over some stats, and just kind of see where things are. And it's just now occurred to me that I don't have all the information.
Eggplant, we'll pause right there.
So Dan, let's look at some numbers. Why don't we?
Love numbers.
As of today, we don't have all of the stats, but by the time all this comes out, it'll be pretty much the same. We are looking at 52,000 downloads of the pod this year.
Nice.
The total for the year is 77,392 total listens. That's downloads, plays, and Spotify streams.
Okay.
Which is pretty outrageous. That puts us over last year's numbers, by about 2,000-3,000 folks. And as of right now, we are over 250,000 views, plays, what have you, total for the podcast.
It's amazing.
Since 2018.
It's amazing. And year over year numbers are a little tricky right now because we feel like we've never had any evidence of this or communication about it, but we feel like some kind of statistical counting changed in our podcast hosts somewhere this year because suddenly, for no accountable reason, like the numbers just crushed. And when I say crushed, I don't mean like did really well. They suddenly did much, much less well for no real reason. And so
not much less, but
it was notable.
Enough noticeable.
Yeah, for sure. And so, to be ahead of last year, even with that going on, I feel pretty good about that.
Moving over to the YouTube side, 145,000 views this year alone.
Great.
1.4 million impressions. Top videos are the 3 things your band needs to succeed. Looks like the Modeler Headrush Prime review was in second place.
Okay.
Our very controversial Rolling Stones guitar list at number 3. My take on the Line 6 HX Stomp still being worth it this year. And then our conversation about Josh Freese joining the Foo Fighters. Those are our top 5 videos.
Great.
Now, over the lifetime of the channel, we're looking at 265,000 views, 1.7 million impressions. So think about that. This year, we had 1.4 million impressions. Over the lifetime of the entire channel, we're at 1.7.
So big year.
The majority of those happened this year.
Yeah.
And interestingly enough, the same videos, with the exception of the neural quad cortex one that we did last year,
Right.
that one usurped the Josh Freese conversation in the top 5.
Gotcha.
But all the other ones,
Define the term impression for me.
that means that somebody was shown one of our videos somewhere while they were on YouTube.
So like
it was either
it came up as a
suggested to
suggested
them.
video, or it.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha.
But I mean, the fact that we've got that many people checking that out, it's pretty wild.
Yeah.
Another thing that happened this year that was really interesting is our website traffic to coverbandconfidential.com went through the roof.
Oh.
And that happened because, just on a whim, I decided to post the script that we did for the cover band or cover song royalties video that we did. I made a blog post with the video that links to it, and then just kind of the specifics. And Google put that as the top search result for that subject. And it's one of those things where it's not even like the SEO component. They found that information and put it above the search results.
Wow.
For that particular subject. So you don't even have to, like, you can't even pay for that spot.
Right.
And it was just kind of, I guess, dumb luck that it happened that way. But that particular blog post has been the number 1 traffic source for the website. This year to date, we're looking at 9,000 views.
Wow.
7,000 unique visitors. And primarily it's literally that one page.
Makes you wonder if that gives you any SEO juice for other pages at the same domain, if there's that model could work going forward.
Yeah. What I've decided to do is that now, with either the unique YouTube videos that go up as well as our episodes, with the way that our editing software works, you can take the script that we are generating and turn that into a blog post, which has been really helpful. But yeah, 6,122 views of just that one blog post.
Amazing.
Which is pretty incredible. With that, it links off to other stuff, and the gift guide was a big win as far as, bringing people over. And yeah, it's been just kind of unexpected. Been getting a lot of inquiries about the Ableton sessions and the templates for the band contracts. So everything is just up, and it's been rad. We've also grown considerably in the Patreon community. We're now over 50 users or 50 patrons, which is a goal that we had set for ourselves.
Yep.
And hit that this year. So big thanks to all of you guys. And overall, it's just been a phenomenal year for us. And we're really stoked about it, and look forward to doing big things. What I think we need to do is look at the stuff that really worked for us this year. And we've got a couple of stats around that. Do you want to go over the pod stats as far as like Spotify and some of the really popular stuff?
Absolutely. So as we look at our podcast hosting platform, it breaks the numbers down in some ways that are questionable in their reliability, but there is like a total number at the bottom. And so however it arrived at those, that's what I'm basing this on. Number 1 most listened episode for this year was Running Sound for Cover Bands, which was March 2nd. Number 2 was our cover band coaching episode with Savvy, which was January 26th, beginning of the year. Now, obviously, these have been in the feed for a while, and people have been able to download them for a while. So this metric is going to favor those that are earlier. There's a boost to having been in the feed for a while, but nonetheless, those are our top two most listened ones. The other big ones were the interview with Adam Moskowitz, the interview with Tyson Leslie, the guest lecture episode that we did which
is rad.
Yeah, much more recent, but I called it out because it's an inflection of the trajectory, right? You can kind of see an episode goes live, a bunch of people download it, and then it has kind of a long tail, and ones that jump out above the trend are pretty noticeable. Interestingly, because we're doing one right now, the other most recent biggie that got listened to a lot was last year's year in review from December 29 of 2022. So that's surprising. I hope everyone loves this episode as much as they seem to love that one. God bless. So, and it's this year we've been putting a lot of focus on paying attention to what's working and what's not. We've been discussing episode topics, like the title of it. what titles seem to draw more attention. And if those titles have gotten a little clickbaity, I apologize, but that's on purpose because it draws attention, it draws the eye, and it draws new listeners to listen to us. And that's a whole funnel for that sort of thing. The other big thing we did this year, and I'm really, really proud of it actually, is the listener feedback survey. So middle of the year, we put up a survey and got quite a few responses. It was actually pretty impressive, the amount of response we got. You'll notice we did not do a worst Christmas songs bracket this year or a best Christmas songs bracket this year. Yeah, brackets, we were told clearly in that feedback survey of, nobody's interested in that. In fact, really seasonal content at all was sort of, nobody really cared. But we definitely got feedback that cover band coaching is interesting. I mean, if you were somebody who gave us feedback on that form that was, you clearly had some things you like and some things you didn't, I guarantee you there were people who were the exact inverse of you. So sorting those out is always, there's a lot of noise in it, but we definitely got some direction going forward that's going to set our North Star for 2024. It's absolutely going to include more cover band coaching. And, we've taken some steps toward building a base of people who are interested that we can reach out to. And that'll be something we'll be really focusing on in the next year.
Absolutely. And, we're hitting year 5 at this point. 300 plus episodes.
Yeah.
And I think it's starting to show that we might be getting better.
It's possible. It's possible we know what we're doing at this point. It's possible.
And at this point,
there are moments when I think it might be that we know what we're doing. There are moments.
Right.
Yeah.
And, beyond the distinction of being the highest rated cover band podcast out there, we're also the only weekly podcast that has been going this entire time.
That's right.
Which is no small feat, as you might have noticed.
Yeah.
This is one of those things that we committed to. And, when I talk to other creatives who are interested in podcasting, that's the thing that I always tell them is like, this is a marathon medium. This is not something where, I'm going to do this for a little while and see where it goes. Like, you just have to be ready to put something out at whatever interval you're comfortable with.
Yeah.
We've figured out a way to make it happen every single week. And it's not without its challenges.
That's right.
But I feel like we still have things to talk about. We still have important information to share. And we still have plenty of mistakes to make.
Yeah, for sure. It's interesting. You talk about other people who are trying stuff like this. I did have a conversation with somebody who I had a podcast. Oh no, I have a podcast. I did 3 episodes. Didn't really take off. And it's been 6 months.
3. And
I was like, what are you going to, you going to be like only murders in the building now? Like, what do you, what's your vision of how this is going to go? No, how it goes is you put out bad episodes for many weeks. And then something starts to happen. Something starts to build. The episodes get less bad. There get to be more listeners. But yeah, we're 5 years into this thing. And we're starting to get numbers that, pretty respectable. Feels like we're actually kind of broadcasting here. Very different from how it was the first whole year, maybe whole second year. So yeah, those of you who are thinking about this, be prepared for the long game. That's what it takes.
Yeah. On that note, I kind of teased this last week that I was like, hey, I have a book that I'm promoting. I wrote an ebook about the creative strategy that kind of I've used to, launch all the things that I've done, the bands and this show and all of the other things that have managed to work out. I mean, we have a small dedicated following, and this is a cash positive operation. It's not super cash positive, but it's no longer an expensive hobby.
Right.
It's just a time consuming hobby at this point.
Yeah.
Everything else is going okay. So if that's something you're interested in, we'll put a link in the notes about it. It's called the Band System, BAND. And if you want to know more about that, you can check that out. But it's an acronym that kind of sums up the way that I look at things and when I launch stuff. And I'm actually in the process of potentially a new podcast idea, not weekly in the same way. I think it's going to be something where I can bank a bunch of stuff up and just release it on a schedule.
Good.
For folks like us. Dan and I, we are in our 40s, got into this game a little further down the road. And I just think there's a lot of people out there that may like doing this stuff and are too afraid to. So I have started.
Or feel like it's a young man's game.
Yep.
Yeah.
So be on the lookout for a podcast called Later Creator. It's still kind of in the planning stages, but the socials are up and I'm working through that. I haven't recorded the first episode yet, but I think I want to put 10 or so in the can before I start putting them out. But
Nice.
That's down the road, because that's my New Year's resolution. I want to kind of focus more on building community around that kind of thing. Because I know we talk a lot about it in the Patreon Slack, that there's folks that are looking to do these kinds of things. And I think it's a huge opportunity, and again, a market that's underserved. So I think there's some there. So I'm gonna see if anything goes for it.
Definitely.
I'm going to do my 3 episodes over 6 months, and
see what the market says. Yeah,
exactly. So, kind of wrapping up the show, this is the time of year where we talk about New Year's resolutions and the things that we want to prioritize or work through next year. And I've got some cool stuff, for those of you who are ready to take your bands to the next level. We've got the band contracts and Ableton templates if you want to go that route. So talking about things coming up this next year, our guitar player, Joey, propositioned this kind of shift in our lineup, where he would move to doing more of the playback and keyboard stuff, and bring another guitar player in who has worked with us previously, who is phenomenal and was a great sub, but was looking to kind of fill out his schedule a bit more. And in our world, a keyboard player has been something that has just not worked out.
They're hard to find.
They are busy, fickle, whatever you want to call it. And this shift in the lineup is a huge win, I think, for us as a band, and really opens up a lot of possibilities. And I am really looking forward to seeing how it all shakes out next year. We've got our work cut out for us as far as staying busy and putting this new version of the project out there. But I think we've got a really great product to pitch. And I'm just really excited to see what the next 12 months look like.
Awesome.
In that realm. So,
awesome.
What about you?
There's some redesign, rethink involved with my current project. I do want to stand up brands that are a little more focused. So we'll see about all of that. And then we have a party here every year at my house for the solstice. And one of the things we do is we give everyone a chance to complete the year, say what this year was and let go of anything there is to let go of, and say what next year will be about. And as I was kind of thinking through what I was going to say there, I realized, I'm very, very happy with my life and my music and my professional life and my family. Like, everything's really, really great. And there's every risk that I would lean back into that comfort and not press forward into the things that I see could be. And so that's kind of my resolution this year, is not to put too much stock in my own comfort, instead to be out creating.
Very nice.
So, yeah.
Cool beans. Well, if you have a particular goal or something that you're setting out to do, let us know about it. Leave it in the comments or email us, coverbandconfidential@gmail.com. Going to NAMM is a big achievement.
That's so great.
That I've wanted to do. Yeah. And I'm just really excited about ramping up some of the stuff with that side of content and doing more gear stuff and partnering with companies, because I feel like we have a really compelling value proposition for these companies. Because ultimately, as cool as it is to have some famous dude playing your guitars, we are the people that keep these companies in business.
Yep.
And I think that we should be the ones who are advocating for the products that work the best for us. So that's going to be my goal when I'm out there and shaking hands and meeting with folks, is finding ways to connect with these companies so that you guys ultimately benefit by getting your hands on the best stuff and finding good deals and all of that. So yeah, that's what we're here to do.
It's awesome. I'm delighted you're doing it. It slightly kills me I'm not out there doing it with you, but it'll be great.
There's always next year.
There you go.
All right. Well, I think that's it. By the time you guys hear this, it'll be almost New Year's Eve.
Very close.
And
listen,
can't wait.
Go crush it at those New Year's Eve gigs. Go get them.
That's right. And hopefully you got your time and a half.
That's right.
For
you better.
For those dates.
You better. If you've been listening to this, you better.
Yeah. I definitely had a couple of folks reach out, and the juice was not worth the squeeze. And I was like, thanks, but no thanks.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's somebody out there who would love to do that, but
sure.
We ain't the ones.
Yeah.
Well, folks, thanks so much for tuning in. We appreciate each and every one of you. Like I said, 2024 is going to be a huge year, both for the band and for this show. and all the things that we've got going on. So thanks again. If you'd like to support us, you can do a number of things, but we'll let Mike tell you how to do that. So that'll be it for this one. In Atlanta, Georgia, I'm Adam Johnson.
In Greensboro, North Carolina, I'm Dan Ray.
You have been listening to the Cover Band Confidential podcast for the week of December 29th, 2023. See you next year.